Hello everyone and welcome to another video, and today, for the first time in 2 months, we're going back to Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now, since my last online multiplayer race in ACC 8 weeks ago, I've actually joined a rookie league run by the guys at OTL just to try and get a bit more experience in the game, to try and make me a bit faster. Sadly, it hasn't worked and I'm still struggling. Today's public lobby race is a 20-minute GT3 race around Zandvoort, and as you can see from qualifying, I've only just scraped into the top 20. My qualifying time of 1:38.6 feels like it's realistically about as fast as I'm going to go, but I am only 0.4 of a second off the driver in 15th place, so if we can improve through the course of the race, we might be able to push for a top 15 finish. As before, we're driving the Sky Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo, and straight away we're faced with one of my least favourite parts about ACC, the rolling start. I still can't quite get my head around how messy these starts always look as you ghost through other cars, trying to stay within the green zone on that display HUD. And then, if this start wasn't untidy enough already, you'll have noticed that the game placed me on the right-hand side of the grid, but then immediately told me to keep left when the car started moving, which only adds to the confusion. I'm really not a fan of these rolling starts in ACC. But having said that, the grid does seem to have sorted itself out now. Everyone looks like they're in the right position, so we're just waiting to see the green lights and we'll be off for 20 minutes around Zandvoort. Let's get over to the live action and see if we can chase a top 15 finish.
Green light, go, go, go. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
We just get a little bit too close to that Porsche in front. I was pretty tentative going into turn 1 on the brakes. I didn't want to get too close, but there was that concertina effect as we all bunched together, and it looks like the Porsche's run wide, and he's not the only one grass tracking. It looked like a Mercedes as well. And the yellow flags are out. We may have lost someone else ahead. In fact, yeah, there's some big contact, and that looked like 1, 2, 3 cars have crashed out, so we've gained a bunch of positions through those first few turns. It looks like we might be as high as 14th now, so if that's the case, we've gained at least 5 positions from where we started on the grid, so it's a really encouraging start. We've done really well to avoid the carnage in those first few turns. Oh, and Hellenius behind got really close in my rearview mirror, I think. My slower entry into that right-hander may have caught him out. He had to get off the gas and take avoiding action. It looks like we've lost someone else on the right. Rejoin him from the grass. That's Stampfel in the Porsche, and he comes under immediate attack from Hellenius. There's contact. Hellenius has crashed out. It looks like Stampfel managed to survive, but he's lost some ground, so that's given us a little bit of breathing room behind. Oh, but not for long by the looks of it, because Stampfel has closed right in as we go through that chicane. He's right on the tail now. In fact, he's too close. He hits the rear of my Ferrari. It sent me into the wall. We're going to be struggling to rejoin safely here. I'm going to have to let the cars go by. We've lost a load of positions. I was so down on speed after hitting that wall. There was no way I could rejoin the racing line safely, but we might have gained a couple of positions back because 2 of the cars in front have binned it on the exit of the final turn. So of all those positions we gained in the first half of the lap, it looks like we've lost most of them in a chaotic first lap at Zandvoort. Yeah, any first lap in a public lobby multiplayer race is always going to be chaotic. In fact, I'm amazed as we look at the replay that we all got through turn 1 okay. It certainly got really crowded in there, and we can see one car taking to the grass on the inside. But all things considered, that was a really clean first turn. However, things did start to go downhill soon after. We saw a Mercedes and a Porsche take to the grass there. That gave me a couple of positions back, and then it got even worse. I'm not sure how much we're going to see from this angle because I was unsighted, but yes, there was a car that had spun out on the right of the track, and the 2 drivers in front of me both ploughed into him and crashed out. I got really lucky there. And as we watch it from another angle, the car that originally spun was none other than the pole position man, the number 11 McLaren of Toff. He just ran it out a little bit wide onto the grass, and that got him in all kinds of trouble. He rejoined, clipped another car, clipped the curb, spun off, and then the 2 cars in front of me had nowhere to go, and there was even more contact. So we escaped unscathed from that ruckus, but we weren't so lucky a few corners later. That Stampfel in the red and white Porsche just rejoining behind me. You can see he comes into contact with Hellenius there. That caused Hellenius to spin out, but now Stampfel is chasing me down on the approach to the chicane. Now, my exit out of this turn wasn't the best. My speed was compromised ever so slightly by clipping the curb on the inside there. You can see Stampfel wants to get on the gas a little bit earlier than me, and it causes him to run into the rear of my Ferrari. We're riding on board with Stampfel now. Look, he's just itching to get on the gas. And then when he finally does, it's just a little bit before I do, and as you can see, he taps the rear of my Ferrari, and that sends me out into the barrier. Now, I was really careful with my rejoin because I knew I was down on speed, so the last thing I wanted to do was go right back to the racing line. I had to let these guys through, but as luck would have it, they ended up taking each other out. Look at that! That's Gomez in the Audi and Adam in the black Bentley, both careering into the wall on the exit of the final turn. Oh, that was a big hit on the curb on the outside there. I only just clipped it, just trying to get a wider exit into the chicane, but that really unsettled the car. And it completely messed up my line, and it's allowed Bolanos and the Porsche to close right in behind me. And we've actually just clipped the curb on the inside of the penultimate turn. It sent the car out wide, pushed us onto the gravel, and Bolanos has nipped through like a ferret. And we're going to be under attack as well from Bakker and the McLaren. He's gone by, he's got the pace. We might even lose another position. Hellenius is having a look up the inside. Oh, I don't think he's going to get it stopped though, and he doesn't. He careers into Bakker's McLaren. Hellenius has spun off again. Bakker somehow managed to save it, but that probably gave him a fright. Dear me, this race certainly isn't pretty at the moment. We needed to settle down. We're in 18th. But yeah, let's check out the replay, and it was a messy lap from me. I'd already made a hash of the chicane before I made this mistake, and that's what let Bolanos nip through on the inside while I'm recovering from the gravel. Bakker's the next person to go through. He's got the pace to surge by me down the start-finish straight. But then keep your eye on Hellenius in the Vantage. He's going to try an opportunistic move up the inside past me, but also past Bakker, and it's not going to work. He's not going to get that car stopped. He careers into the black McLaren. It only spins himself out, though. Bakker survives.
Yellow flag, be careful there. There's a slow car, man.
So we saw the yellows come out, closely followed by a white, so we've lost someone up in front. Who is it? It looks like Obrazov in the Vantage. He's rejoined, but has Bakker got enough to get around him before the chicane? No, he hasn't, so Obrazov has held on to that 16th place with Bakker in 17th. I'm still in 18th, but just losing a bit of touch with these guys now, and that exit out of the chicane didn't help me either. So it looks like we're only still going to be lapping in the 141s when we finish this lap, way off the pace that we had in qualifying, but maybe with a clear track in front and behind us now, we might be able to find a bit more consistency and start getting those lap times back down into the 138s where we were in qualifying. I set a target of a top 15 finish at the start of this race. Currently that position's occupied by Bolanos, and he's, 3.5 seconds down the road, so all certainly not lost. But we do just need to up the pace a little bit and get back on the tail of these guys. Oh, this lap's looking much better already. Just a quick glance at the delta. It's in the green by more than 2 seconds. And the yellow flag is out ahead as well. Have we lost someone in the chicane? Yes, we have. There's a car on the inside. I'm a bit hesitant about his rejoin, but it looks like he's parked it up. So that's one position back. We're up to 17th. Yeah, it was the yellow and green Vantage of Guyana, and he gets the entrance into the chicane all wrong, trying to make a move up the inside of that McLaren of Wainman, but ends up crashing both of them out.
We're halfway through, keep it up.
So we did a 1:38.7 last time out. If we can just get a good exit out of this final turn, we might improve again. We're marginally up on the delta. It's just gone green. And yeah, we've done a 1:38.751. So we are improving, albeit slightly.
Yellow flag is watch out in front.
Now we just saw the yellow flag come out there and also a white briefly, and we've suddenly gained a position, so someone must have crashed out further ahead. It's certainly not any of the three drivers right in front of me. We've still got Obrazov, Bakker and Balanos in front. But now we're up to 16th, so Balanos in 15th, that's our immediate target. But although we're going a little bit quicker lap by lap, it seems that Balanos is going quicker still. He's extended that gap to 3.5 seconds now, although we do have another yellow flag out. Who have we lost? It looked like George in the Ferrari was parked up on the beach on the left just as we came through that fast sweeping right-hander. So I think that might put us up into 15th, although the leaderboard hasn't caught up yet. I'm pretty confident we're in our top 15 position. And yeah, there's the confirmation. The leaderboard is updated as we start the third sector of the track. We're up to 15th place. So now we've still got 8 minutes of the race to go. So can we do any better? Balanos now is 4 seconds clear. So sadly, it looks like he's just got a little bit more pace than us. But so far in this race, we've seen mistakes. We've seen wrecks left, right and centre. So I wouldn't rule anything out at the moment for this final 8 minutes. But what we've got to do is string a few laps together. Try and close that gap down a bit so that we can be ready to pounce if a mistake's made ahead. Oh, and there's the mistake. Look, that's Balanos parked up in the wall. There was a cloud of dust, so he's obviously got it all wrong through that section. So now we're up to 14th. Oh, I must admit my heart was in my mouth as I approached that incident at full race speed. I wasn't sure if Balanos was going to rejoin or not, but thankfully he didn't. He let me by. But as I say that, I've just missed my line into this right-hander and we go out wide onto the gravel. Thankfully, we didn't get bogged down like George did on the last lap, because if you get stuck out there, it can take an age to get back onto the track. We've just about survived. But that mistake has once again allowed Hellenius to get right back onto my rear bumper. He's just 0.4 of a second behind. But what's gone down here? There's 2 cars out. One of them spinning on the infield. I don't know what he was doing, but we've gained 2 more positions and all of a sudden we're into 12th. And as we approach the chicane, I have to admit I'm feeling a little bit unsettled with Hellenius right behind me. We've seen him make a couple of lunges already this race, but my exit isn't great. We've drifted out wide. Hellenius is going to have the outside line. I think he might have the pace to get around. Yes, he does. He darts by, so in a blink of an eye, we've gone from 12th back down to 13th. But I know my pace is every bit as good as Hellenius, if not maybe a 10th or 2 quicker. So I'm confident we'll be able to stick with him here, and we've already seen him make a mistake or 2. So hopefully we can get this position back before too long. And in fact, there's the mistake. Look, he's completely missed his braking point into turn 1. We've got just enough speed to nip back up the inside and take that position back. So yes, we're back up to 12th already. And now we just need to open up a safe enough gap to stay ahead. Yeah, really eventful lap, that one. Let's go back and see what happened. Starting with Balanos in the Porsche, and it looks like he just clipped the inside of that curb, which was enough to unsettle the car and send him into the wall. That gave me 1 position back. And then later in the lap, all hell broke loose. It looks like we've got 1 car rejoining from the gravel, but he's done so safely, so that's not caused any issues. 1 spins out on the left there. We can just see that in the background. But then all of a sudden, we're going to have 3 cars jostling for 1 position, and they all spin out, and other cars get involved as well. Let's check it out from the chopper cam, and keep your eye on the black Bentley who's on the outside there and just avoiding the white car that spun off. But that black Bentley is actually a back marker, and he's just going to have a sneaky look up the inside. He's going to clip the McLaren, who then spins into the Ferrari, and all of them are off. Rewind into the start of the incident, and it gets even messier here. That's the McLaren of Barnon, who actually qualified second in the race. He gets tangled up, and it was him who was rejoining from the gravel. But it's not pretty viewing at all, is it? There are cars everywhere, 2, 3, 4 wide, spinning in all directions. Watch the Bentley up the inside. He's going to clip Barnum. Barnum spins out into the Ferrari. Other cars get involved. Utter mayhem. And I tell you what, that gap to Albrecht ahead is coming down quite dramatically now. It's down to 1.5 seconds. So in the space of half a lap, we've gained a second on him. He must have some damage, surely. He must be really down on power. But yeah, now we're within a second. And we're dragging Hellenius along as well. So we could be in a 3-way battle here before too long. We're right on Albrecht's tail now. If we can just get this turn sealed off tightly and get on the gas early, we may be able to get alongside. But no, we're not quite quick enough out of the turn. So we're going to stay behind Albrecht into the chicane. Oh, but look at Hellenius. He's going to have a dive up the inside into the chicane. Has he got enough to get around? We gave him as much space as we could, but he backed out of it, thankfully, and we're going to hold on to the position. It looked like he might have ran onto the gravel on exit as well, so that's going to cost him a 10th or 2. Right, now we need to focus on Albrecht. We know he's down on power, so can we get the job done on the start-finish straight? Is he going to go into the pits even for repairs? No, he's not, but we just cruise by there, no problem at all. We're up into 11th place. The big question is, Hellenius going to get by him too? And he is, and he's going to come right up behind me as well. I think there might have been some contact. Hellenius has spun out yet again, and I'll breathe a huge sigh of relief because we could have got tangled up in that, but we escaped unharmed. Let's check out a replay of that battle with Hellenius, and it was a really intense one for a couple of laps. It started here when I just ran a little bit wide on exit, kicked up a bit of dust there, and that cost me some speed. That gave Hellenius the chance to go around the outside into the penultimate turn. He's got the advantage down the start-finish straight, but he just carried too much speed at the end of it. He didn't get it stopped, ran out wide, collected a bit of gravel himself, and I took the position back. Then at the end of the next lap, he has a sniff up the inside going into the chicane. He thought better of it, and then, in his hurry to get past the damaged Albrecht, he just gets a bit too close to him. There's contact, and it's Hellenius who spins out. Yeah, it looks like I was only millimetres away from getting collected up in that, and I could have easily ended up in the dirt as well, so I can count myself really fortunate there. Let's look at it from the chopper cam. That's me surging past Albrecht. Now we can keep our eye on Hellenius. Look, he just seems to graze the front left of Albrecht's car. I don't know if Albrecht maybe wasn't expecting him to pass, but yeah, again, it's really messy, but we get away with it. Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but with a couple of laps of the race left, we're now pushing for a top 10 finish. Bakker's currently occupying 10th place, but he's only 1.4 seconds ahead as we charge down the start-finish straight. Can we do anything to reel that gap in and make a late challenge for that 10th position?
Yellow flag is sent to 2.
Oh, this could be our chance. Bakker's run wide. He's run onto the grass and kicked up a load of dirt. This is our opportunity to push and close the gap, and we've just lost the rear and it's sent us out into the wall. But it looks like we've still gained 10th position. We must have lost another driver. Yeah, I must admit I smelled blood when I saw Becker ahead clip the grass, and I thought I'd push as hard as I could to try and get on his tail, but I just pushed a little bit too hard. You can see here, I just get on the gas a bit too early. There's not enough traction control to save me, and we go careering into the wall. However, while all that was happening, we must have lost another driver further ahead. We did see a yellow flag come out, and I was promoted to 10th position, so we're going to rejoin the race for the last couple of corners. And as you can see from the leaderboard in the bottom left, that mistake on the previous lap cost me dear. That put paid to my chances of challenging Bakker. He's now 4.2 seconds ahead, but I'm in a comfy 10th position, and look, I've suddenly been promoted to 9th as well, so we've lost another driver shortly before we cross the finishing line. So incredibly, I'm going to get the checkered flag and take 9th position.
Alright, checkered flag, good job, you did the best you could. I'll bring the car back.
So yeah, given that our pace was probably fast enough for 19th at best, it's incredible that we're going to finish this race in 9th position. But then, when we call up the classified results, we're going to see it get even better. Another 4 drivers were disqualified after the checkered flag. I can only assume for not taking drive-through penalties or something like that. And astonishingly, it's promoted us to 5th place. Now, you'd think this sort of a finish for me would be a cause for celebration, but actually I find it a little bit frustrating. Now, I'm a realist and I know that my pace at best was only fast enough for 15th place, so the fact that I finished this race in the top 5 really doesn't say much at all for the levels of racecraft on display at Zandvoort today. But nevertheless, it's made for an interesting video, so I do hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I'll be back for another video again soon. Take care guys, cheers.